Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain for You. Today's topic is going to be the severity of the pain is based upon ... And you got to watch the video to find out. So, before we do that, a couple of nice breaths. Breathe in the peace. Exhale the noise. Breathe in the relaxation. Exhale the stress. Breathe in the calm. Exhale the tension. So, the severity of the pain is based upon ... the brain's perception or perceived danger. So, the severity of the pain is not based upon the amount of tissue damage or the amount of structural problems, if there is any, or anything like that. It's based on the perception of danger. So the story that I will tell you is a story that many of you may have heard. I think Lorimer Moseley, a pain scientist from Australia, talks about how there was a construction worker who jumped off of some scaffolding, and he lands and he looks down and the nail is coming right through his work boot, and he freaks out, and the pain is screaming. I mean, searing, screaming. The guy's losing his mind. So they somehow cut the board that he landed on that had the nail sticking through it. They cut the board, got him into an ambulance, given him morphine. Apparently the morphine wasn't even touching the pain. The pain was so high. The guy was losing his mind. They get to the hospital and again, couldn't calm down the pain. They cut the boot off of this gentleman's foot to get to the injury, and come to find out the nail went right in between his toes. Did not even go into his foot. He wasn't bleeding. It went in between his toes. So, why did this guy have so much pain? Because his brain simply registered, oh my God, I just jumped down and I got a nail through my foot. The brain's perception of danger was through the roof, screaming high. What happened to the pain once they cut the boot away and realized that he wasn't even stabbed at all by this nail? The brain quickly realized, oh, thank God I'm okay, and the pain disappeared. Now, obviously he felt pretty embarrassed by it, and, an interesting story, but it just proves that the actual tissue damage was not causing the pain, because in this case there wasn't any. And you've heard me talk about the perception of danger as it relates to touching a hot stove, right? So you're cooking in the kitchen, your hand happens to glance and you touch a hot stove, you immediately come off it. The brain instantly turns on the pain, right? But what happens once you look and say, I'm not burnt? Instantly the pain is gone. So it's not based on tissue damage. You didn't melt your skin. You didn't burn yourself. But the brain's perception of danger, you're near the stove, you're feeling heat. Get off. Super high level of pain to do what? Warn you. React. Oh my God, get off the stove. Right? The perception of danger, really high. There's a story, I think I've told it before in a video, but I want to just really drive it home. I know somebody who broke their ankle running through the woods. She felt her ankle roll. She heard a snap. And basically the brain says, oh shit, you just broke something. Oh my God, you broke your ankle or something. So what did the pain do? Well, the perception of danger was high, and it was legitimate. Because in this case, she truly broke the tibia down by the ankle. So what do you think happened when she put some weight on her foot that she had just broken? The brain, because the perception of danger, of further damage, was super high, accurately, what happened? The pain was screaming hot, right? So she stumbled her way back to the car, hopped her way back to the car. The pain, anytime she put any weight on that foot, was searingly high. So she got herself to the emergency room where they x-rayed it. Said, yep, there's a nice clean break. And, you're going to wear this boot, one of those stability boots, the black one with the Velcro. You're going to wear that for 6 weeks. And here's some crutches. You're going to use them for 4 weeks. Don't put any weight on it. And what she told me was, within 2 days, 90% of the pain was gone. So, if she did an x-ray again, they would see, you have a broken ankle. But yet 90% of the pain was gone. So what changed? Clearly it hadn't healed yet. The only thing that changed was the perception of danger. So out in the woods where she broke it, the perception of danger was really high. You keep on walking on that, you're going to cause more damage. Perception of danger, super high. Now that she had the stability boot and the crutches and she wasn't going to do anything stupid, the brain says, she's okay. We don't need the pain to warn her or stop her from damaging herself further. So, these are 3 scenarios where the perception of danger is way more involved than the actual damage or structural or physical injury or perceived injury. And so, why does this matter to you? Well, as you are navigating your TMS journey, if you find that your pain levels are very high or have just spiked or flared, you can kind of use this perception of danger thing to kind of figure, well, maybe I can see what's going on. Why is my brain perceiving danger? Well, as we start to feel a little bit better, sometimes we say, I'm going to resume physical activity. Look, Dr. Sarno even says it in the book, resume physical activity. But what people fail to read is the rest of the statement. Once the pain has subsided enough that you can do that without fear. He further talks that if the fear is extremely high, you may cause yourself a recurrence of the pain or a resurgence of the pain. Why? Because if your fear is still high, the brain's going to perceive that taking this walk or going on that jog or getting on the elliptical or the treadmill or lifting weights, that's dangerous. And if the brain perceives danger, what's it going to do with your pain levels? Shoot them up. And if the pain is gone and you start to resume physical activity and all of a sudden it comes back, it's not based on you damaging yourself. You didn't hurt yourself. You didn't injure yourself. You didn't overdo it. The brain just isn't convinced that that's safe yet. And so if it perceives danger, it's going to give you those symptoms at a higher level to do what? Stop it. Don't do that again. And so this is how it works. Look, for TMS, there is no actual damage. There is no structural cause. Why do people who are having back pain, for example, and I know that's a boring example, but somebody who has back pain, they're doing okay. I mean, it hurts, but it's not awful. And they go for an MRI. And then what happens? They're told, oh, look, you've got a bulging or herniated disc right here at this level. And inevitably, so many of these people go, oh no, I'm broken. Oh my God. And what happens to their pain level? Straight up through the roof, right? Nothing changed physically. The perception of danger did, because now they have proof, medical proof on that imaging study. I'm broken. I've got this bulging disc and I'm only in my 30s, so what's my life going to be like for the rest of my life? I might be in a wheelchair in 20 years, or 5 years, or 2 years, based on the amount of pain. And the pain gets worse. The only thing that changed is the fear level. And tell me, please comment below, has this happened to you? Or, even if you don't have something on the imaging study, but a doctor gives you a scary diagnosis, you have fibromyalgia, you've got trigeminal neuralgia, you've got pudendal neuralgia. And then you do a little research and you find that, oh my God, look at all the horror stories all over the web. What's going to happen to me? Oh no. And again, nothing has changed in your body. But what happened to the fear levels? Through the roof. And what happens to the pain or the symptoms? they get worse. And the more we panic, the more we freak out, the more we catastrophize and get anxious about it and worry about it and monitor it and are desperate to get rid of this pain, what happens to the pain? At minimum, it's going to probably stick around, if not get worse. And so, I talk about this all the time. The two things that tend to drive chronic symptoms is fear and attention. So, perception of danger, that's fear. So if you are freaking out because you perceive and your brain is convinced and believes you that you're going to hurt yourself or injure yourself or hurt yourself further or overdo it because you've got a weak, frail, easily broken, damaged body already, that fear is just going to fuel the pain. So if you are really, really suffering with a significantly high pain, it's because the brain perceives danger. That's why the TMS approach is geared towards knowledge therapy. Dr. Sarno, most of what he did in his early days was knowledge therapy. He didn't get into the whole journaling stuff and, think psychologically initially. It was like, teach, educate. You're not broken. These things are normal abnormalities. So in my case, I had 13 years of back pain. Even though I knew about Sarno for much of that, I can't tell you how many times I probably said in my head or out loud, I can't do that. Got a bad back. I can't lift that. Got a bad back. Got a bad back. Got a bad back. Well, guess who's listening? My brain was. So what do you think happened anytime I'd bend over to pick something heavy up? My brain would go, oh, stop that. What are you, crazy? You got a bad back. You've told me that 1,000 times. And so, again, it is not based on me having a frail and easily broken, easily injured back. Because here I am 24 years later, and I feel better now at 55 than I did in my 30s. It had everything to do with the perception that because I had some pain and I couldn't get rid of it, and I couldn't do things, and if I would move a certain way it would hurt, I convinced myself that I had a bad back, and my brain was listening. And so it's the perception of danger that dictates the severity of the pain levels, which is why oftentimes these videos and reading and learning and listening to podcasts will help to settle down the pain. Why? Because when you learn more, and recognize that you're not broken, what happens to the fear level? It goes down. And when you have less fear, you don't have to stare at it all day long. And without the fear and the attention, the pain has no fuel. So, the intensity of the pain is based on the brain's perception of danger, not actual damage. So I hope that makes sense. And if you can think back to some of your pain flares and when it was at its worst, and maybe you're there now, are you sending messages of safety or danger? If you're freaking out because it hurts so bad, all you're doing is confirming the brain's belief that you're in danger. And so that's why I always say, nobody ever got better by freaking out. And I know I also say, be indifferent to the pain. And when you're in really significant, serious pain, indifference seems pretty impossible. And it very well may be. But at least don't freak out. Reassure yourself it's just TMS. Calm the fears. Calm the thinking. Soothe the body. And what you're going to find is that you can influence, not control, but influence how long it takes for that pain to settle down. And when you can turn down the fear, inevitably what you're going to find is that the pain settles down too. Because again, the perception of danger is what drives the severity or the intensity of that pain. So, I appreciate you guys. Love you. If you're not a subscriber on YouTube yet, go to YouTube, search for Pain For You channel, hit the red subscribe button. If you're not in my Pain For You private group yet, search Facebook for Pain For You private group, and then hit the join button. Would love to keep on growing this community. I do appreciate you. I love you guys and gals. Hopefully you found this message useful in interpreting perhaps why your symptoms were raging sometimes, and maybe very well be right now. So, comment below. Let me know if this rings a bell with you, or feel free to share your experience with freaking out and pain super high, and then when you calmed down, the pain came down. You're going to find that this is accurate. Anyway, love you guys and gals. I will talk to you tomorrow. See ya.